When you're in rehab, you're on a high. You survived.
The accident, the rehab, it did have an effect on our relationship. I think our world had been tipped upside down and it took some adjusting to get used to.
It's not until you go home realising that you can't do things the way that you used to do, that is when you kind of fall into a dark space.
The first main struggle was getting her home and getting her set up and sorted in a way that she could function and cope safely. And even just the trip home from hospital was a struggle. So at that point, Holly was really frightened.
The prospect of her getting into a car was really scary for her.
Getting in and out of the car was quite challenging, and we needed to, from memory, prop up the seat with some pillows and cushions.
I think she held my hand that tight the whole way. By the time I got home, I couldn't feel my hand. She was squeezing it that hard, so it was pretty scary.
We made sure she had a therapy team put together that were ready to start with Holly from when she got home.
The house had to be set up so that she'd have a room that she could work, try and do some exercises.
I couldn't stay in the shower. I couldn't make my own breakfast. Something as little as painting my toes or something as getting out of bed, everything was a struggle.
And at that point, Holly was requiring physiotherapy, psychology, occupational therapy and exercise physiology, speech therapy, and a lot of that was coming to her home.
It's a good accomplishment, Nana.
Well, they mastered for the day. I'll do rash for four. It was so much more than just one challenge.
Cognition and her communication, her memory, created a lot of fatigue for her. So she had a lot of difficulties.
Do we want anything else?
When I first started working with Holly, I think one of her biggest issues was struggling with what we call attention, to filter out information, things that she hears or sees.
When I first met Holly, she came in a wheelchair. She was unable to walk more than sort of 10 or 15 metres on a couple of sticks.
What are they? Chicken wings.
I wanted her to make sure that the only thing she was worrying about was doing her rehab and going about her day-to-day life.
We did lots of exercises and tasks on attention and memory and learning the impact that has on her socially.
Doing a lot of hands-on physiotherapy and exercises to restore the movement in her hips, around her pelvis, around her trunk, around her knees, where she'd had a lot of metal work inserted to fix those fractures.
Having nurses and doctors poke and prod you and then physio telling you all these things to do, I feel like she just needed to vent, just to let out what she needed to say, so I was just there to listen.
I was there. I was with my family again. I wasn't scared alone in rehab. I had my family.
You wait till I go to tennis tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. If you want to do a screenshot now though. And I remember happy crying walking into one of my appointments because I don't think I've ever happy cried before in my life.